From Wish TV and the All Indiana Podcast Network, this is the News 8 Daily 8 Podcast with Wish TV's Kylie Conway. A Wish TV News 8 update.
Hi, this is Kylie Conway, and this is your News 8 Daily 8 for Wednesday, August 17th. Another gorgeous day is in store. Bright and sunny for your Wednesday. Really pleasant temperatures as well. Low humidity with highs topping out in the low 80s. Police say a man is in the hospital after a fall during a concert at Lucas Oil Stadium. The police report says that he stumbled over a railing during last night's show featuring Motley Crue, Def Leppard, Poison, and Joan Jett. It happened about 11 last night. Police say he was intoxicated at the time and is now stable at the hospital. IMPD tells News 8 that the stadium's security company is handling the investigation. We've reached out to that company for more information, and we'll bring you what we find out. And police say a woman is in the hospital after a break-in attempt on the east side. Officers responded to East 21st Street between Ritter and Arlington just before 2 this morning. The victim says it was an ex-boyfriend who fired a shot inside the house. Police believe that shot hit the floor, forcing a shard of tile to fly up and hit the victim, causing her injury. No information has been released on the victim, her condition, or the suspect. And IMPD is working to learn how a person ended up shot on the west side. That shooting happened around 4:15 on Centennial Street near 10th and Tibbs. Police have only said that they found the victim awake and breathing. No word on any potential suspect information. And today, a possible death penalty announcement in the murder of Elwood police officer Noah Cheney. City leaders are also taking action to prevent the kind of shooting that killed him. We're told a news conference is set for 10 this morning. Carl Boards II is accused of shooting and killing Cheney during a traffic stop on July 31st. Boards is charged with murder and other crimes. Prosecutors could add habitual offender and felony firearm enhancements. The prosecutor's office has said it will seek at least life without parole for the defendant and may consider pushing for a death sentence. Officer Cheney was 24 years old and had only served for 11 months before he was shot and killed. The announcement of possible charges comes as Elwood city leaders invest in bullet-resistant windshields for police vehicles. The city's Board of Public Works and Public Safety voted unanimously Monday to spend $35,000 on the upgrades. Elwood police say Boards shot Cheney through his police cruiser windshield before Cheney could get out. Leaders say the anti-ballistic windshields are supposed to stop a bullet from a rifle. As of now, we do not have the details of when the new windshields will be installed. We do know that there are 19 police vehicles that will get them. We'll have a crew ready to stream the news conference at 10 this morning live on wishtv.com, through our Facebook page, and through our News 8 app. With a key decision on a congressional seat just days away, one of the hopefuls is talking about his future as he answers questions about his past. Former Attorney General Curtis Hill is one of 6 Republicans vying to fill the seat left vacant by the death of Representative Jackie Walorski. A party caucus this weekend will decide which one will be on the November ballot. Hill lost his Attorney General re-election bid in 2020 amid accusations that he drunkenly groped several women at a party. The state Supreme Court later suspended his law license. Hill gave his first interview about his decision to run to News 8's political reporter Garrett Berquist.
Concerned at all that some of the allegations that were made against you a few years ago and the temporary suspension of your license might play against you in a general election?
Well, I'm sure someone's going to bring up all sorts of old business, but that's old news. The folks in this district need somebody who's a fighter, who can take the heat. And if there's one thing that I've proven over the last several years is I can take a licking.
Walorski's husband has endorsed her former campaign finance manager, Rudy Giuliani. And one of the most prominent critics of former President Trump will not keep her seat in Congress. Republicans in Wyoming have chosen Trump's preferred candidate over Liz Cheney. Harriet Hageman will now be on the ballot for Wyoming's only seat in the House. Cheney focused her campaign around her decision to work against Trump. She voted for his impeachment and is serving as the co-chair of the House committee investigating the Capitol riot.
2 years ago, I won this primary with 73% of the vote. I could easily have done the same again. The path was clear. But it would have required that I go along with President Trump's lie about the 2020 election. It would have required that I enable his ongoing efforts to unravel our democratic system and attack the foundations of our republic. That was a path I could not and would not take.
In Alaska, Republican Senator Lisa Murkowski is moving forward in the race to keep her seat. She is one of 4 candidates to advance in Alaska's new ranked choice voting system. Murkowski's Republican rival, Kelly Tshibaka, also advanced. Former Governor Sarah Palin advances in her bid for Alaska's only House seat. If she wins, it will be her first time in elected office since she resigned from the governor's office in 2009. 2 top House Democrats are accusing a government watchdog of obstructing their investigation into January 6th. Homeland Security's Inspector General Joseph Kufari told lawmakers he will not provide documents in staff testimony about the erasure of Secret Service texts. He says it's because of the ongoing criminal investigation. House Oversight Chair Carolyn Maloney and Homeland Security Chair Benny Thompson now demand Kufari comply or risk a congressional subpoena. Kufari first told Congress last month that the texts were deleted despite requests that they be preserved. Since then, lawmakers say evidence shows the Inspector General's office knew about the texts and abandoned efforts to recover them. And today, Rudy Giuliani is set to testify before a special grand jury. It's investigating attempts by former President Trump to flip the 2020 election results in Georgia. We reported on Daybreak that prosecutors have told Giuliani that he's a target in their investigation. A lawyer for Giuliani would not comment on what kind of response he'll give or if Giuliani will invoke his Fifth Amendment rights. And a judge will hear arguments this week about the affidavit that led to the search of former President Trump's Florida estate. The Department of Justice wants to keep the affidavit sealed. Trump has called for it to be made public, and several news agencies are asking the judge to open it as well. The hearing is set for tomorrow afternoon in Florida. The Justice Department has released the warrant used in the search and the list of items seized, which included 11 sets of classified documents. The FBI has talked to at least 2 former White House attorneys about the federal records at Mar-a-Lago. CNN reports the agency interviewed Pat Cipollone and his former deputy Patrick Philbin earlier this year, and also questioned other former Trump aides when starting the criminal probe. And the White House is now figuring out how to implement a sweeping healthcare, tax, and climate law. President Biden signed the Inflation Reduction Act yesterday in a major victory for his administration months before the midterm elections. He calls it the final piece of his domestic policy agenda. As we reported, the legislation includes $375 billion to fight climate change, the most substantial federal investment regarding climate change in U.S. history. It also caps prescription drug costs at $2,000 out of pocket annually for Medicare recipients. Some Republicans say it doesn't reflect what Americans really want. The White House says Biden will soon host a cabinet meeting to discuss the law's implementation. Biden is also planning a major speech after Labor Day to kick off midterm campaigning. All right, to business headlines. The Education Department on Tuesday wiped out about $4 billion in debts owed by students who attended Carmel-based ITT Technical Institute schools. The debt is being forgiven using a federal rule known as borrower defense, which is meant to protect students from colleges that make false advertising claims or otherwise commit fraud. The agency also sought to recoup $24 million from another for-profit college chain, DeVry University, to cover the cost of discharging its former students' loans. Center of a bankruptcy over combat earplugs. 3M subsidiary Aereo Technologies has filed for bankruptcy in the U.S. District Court for the Southern District of Indiana and agreed to take on the mounting liabilities facing its parent company over the earplugs. There are more than 290,000 active claims against 3M. Many have been brought by veterans who say they used the earplugs but still developed tinnitus or hearing loss. And the probability of a severe downturn in the U.S. housing market is on the rise, according to new guidance from credit reporting agency Fitch. Fitch's projections suggest that U.S. home prices could sink by 10 to 15% in the case of a major housing slump, alongside a roughly 30% decline or more in housing activity over the next few years. Meanwhile, Redfin says home sale cancellations surged to another 2-year high as buyers pull back, worried about a recession. Walmart and Target said supplies of baby formula were improving. However, Target said it will continue with the purchase restrictions both at its stores and online. The shortage that began due to the pandemic-induced supply chain issues worsened in February when Abbott Laboratories, the biggest U.S. supplier, recalled some products and closed a manufacturing plant after reports of bacterial infections. And Community Health Network is speaking out about how it will handle abortions after Indiana's ban goes into effect next month. It says when the abortion ban starts, their doctors will follow the law, but women will get the same prenatal, contraception, and miscarriage care that they've always had. And when it comes to abortions, the hospital system plans to help women find the care they need or want. Hannah Mordeau reports.
We will always take care of women.
Dr. Indy Lane has been an OBGYN at Community Health Network for 18 years, but this is a first.
A lot of women were concerned.
Indiana's near total abortion ban, starting on September 15th, has her patients wondering what next.
Can you answer that? What does it mean?
Their care is not going to change. Thankfully, we'll continue to be able to provide contraception, sterilization for those women. And I think that the vast majority of services we provide for miscarriage will continue to go on as they always have.
The hospital system never did elective abortions before, but has always advised women on where to go if they need or want to terminate a pregnancy, and plan to still do that.
There will be resources. We know that women cannot seek elective pregnancy termination in Indiana, but we're not forbidden in terms of giving those patients the resources that they may need or seek outside of Indiana so that they could get safe care.
They're also analyzing the exceptions to the new law. Abortions are allowed in cases of rape and incest up to 10 weeks post-fertilization if a fetus is diagnosed with a lethal anomaly, and to protect the life and physical health of the mother.
For instance, if a woman is diagnosed with cancer and she needs chemotherapy, providing chemotherapy to the patient will be deleterious to the fetus. However, not proceeding with therapy can impact the woman's life.
Fatal fetal abnormalities. What is that?
So it varies, and I think that there's still some discovery, some work that needs to be done, certainly at Community Health Network, to understand what exactly we define as a lethal anomaly, because there are some gray areas.
Next, to any confusion surrounding miscarriages.
Miscarriage, not the same as abortion. Can you clarify the two?
Correct. So a miscarriage from a medical perspective is when you have a pregnancy where fetal growth has ceased, or there's no fetal cardiac activity. When you look at the technical term, the medical term, it's also sometimes diagnosed as a missed abortion. And I think that's where a lot of confusion comes in. Although it's called a missed abortion, we'll still be able to take care of those women that experience a miscarriage, meaning their pregnancy has terminated for reasons that we don't always know.
For a miscarriage, women will still be able to get a surgical D&C to remove any remaining fetal tissue, or take an oral medication like Cytotec and misoprostol to do the same thing.
Same medication that one might use for an abortion. Is there any concern that that'll be investigated?
Right. I think we're still doing discovery on, how that medication can be used. Again, we've only used it for miscarriage, and it's highly regulated in terms of, it has to be dispensed in the office. You have to have the patient take it in front of you, and it has to be when we know that it is no longer a viable pregnancy.
Community Health Network says it has not come to any conclusion about if it will perform these exception abortions in the future. But what they do know is their doctors plan to help women the best they can.
So we are concerned about an increase in women coming to our organization that perhaps have not gotten the best care, but we will absolutely take care of those women and provide them with compassionate, non-judgmental care.
Again, that was Hannah Mordeau reporting. She also reports under the new law, abortions can only be performed in hospitals or outpatient centers owned by hospitals, meaning all abortion clinics could lose their licenses. Dr. Lane says that these clinics are crucial to helping women get contraception or Plan B, and she hopes they stay open for that. And finally, a leader in the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department says his deputies had no business taking photos of the Kobe Bryant crash scene. The crash in 2020 killed 9 people, including the Basketball Hall of Famer and his daughter. Bryant's widow is suing for invasion of privacy and emotional distress. The photos included pictures of the victims and were shared among deputies. The sheriff's captain testified yesterday that only the National Transportation Safety Board and the coroner should take photos of a plane or helicopter crash. A deputy testified a command post supervisor asked for the photos to be taken. This has been your News 8 Daily 8 for Wish TV. I'm Kylie Conway, online at wishtv.com, and follow us on Facebook when you search Wish TV.
This is the News 8 Daily 8 podcast with Wish TV's Kylie Conway. A Wish TV News 8 update on demand for even more on demand and on the go. Connect with Wish TV on Facebook at wishtv.com and on the free Wish TV mobile app. Thank you for listening. And be sure to like, subscribe, and follow this podcast for updates every weekday morning on the All Indiana Podcast Network and wherever you get your podcast.